Yeah, I think that I know for me, one of the most difficult parts in the beginning was really trying to understand what kind of wife I wanted to be. Most of the women that I had seen wifing were really glorified mothers.
And there was even guilt with that, with changing.
Oh, for sure.
Because growing up, I always hear, especially in the Black community, is, you change, so it's bad to change?
To change, right. I felt like such a failure. I felt like, the ideas that I had come with, had put our family in absolute disaster. And that was the first example that I had of what it means for a man to care for his family beyond just the financial. We both honor peace. Creates the room and opportunity for romance and other things to naturally be an evolution. Because of the fact that we don't invite chaos. Marriage is not for the faint of heart.
I'm Tim.
I'm Yunchi. And we're the Wanderlust family. And this is Project Vida, a series that talks about our life beyond the Wanderlust journey, where we discuss life, love, marriage, parenting, relationships, and everything in between. This episode is really special because Tim and I officially make 10 years married. We've been together for 12, but married officially for 10 years. I know we don't look like it. We age quite nicely, but we have been married for 10 long years. Long years. Basically, this episode is we're going to talk about our marriage, what it's taken for us to get here, trials and tribulations, what we've overcome, the things that we've learned, because it hasn't been easy.
We knew each other from high school. We lived in the same neighborhood. I lived in the front, she lived in the back. We rode the bus together. At the time, we both were in relationships, but we liked each other. We was cool, but it never went any further than that. I guess flirted around, but nothing serious. Mm-hmm. When I became a junior, she became a senior. She got a car. Didn't invite to take me to school with her, but that was cool. So I didn't see her really much at all, unless it was in school.
I was working.
Oh, yeah. So we didn't really see too much of each other. So we fell out of touch really after she graduated. Mm-hmm. That was 2003. I graduated in 2004. So fast forward to 2008. I randomly looked her up on Facebook.
Shout out to Facebook.
Yeah. Which was my actual second time looking for her, because I looked for her probably a year or two ahead of time. Thank God I probably didn't find you then. So I found her on Facebook and I slid in the DMs. And that's probably all I'm comfortable with talking about. No. So I slid in the DMs, but you were in a relationship at the time.
Yes.
A failing one.
Very failing.
And I was doing my thing in the ATL, so
backsliding days.
Her being in a relationship kind of didn't matter to me, but at the same time, it was failing, so it was even better. So,
but I wasn't looking for a relationship.
But she wasn't looking. No, she wasn't. But I was, I had game. I don't care what you say. I was a warm market game though. I wasn't a cold market game.
It was high school, yes, because I knew who you were in high school. You were to me, you were still that same sweet boy. I didn't know you got corrupted by living in ATL.
Very sweet.
Quite corrupt. All the corruption.
Lies.
No, you sit on the throne of lies.
And that was December of 2008.
Yes.
I think we actually linked up in February of 2009. Yeah. So I came to Houston. We went out to dinner and stuff like that. And then you ended up coming to Atlanta in April of 2009.
Yes.
And then I went back to Houston in May. We did a photo shoot. At the end of the photo shoot, I asked her to be my girlfriend.
It was really sweet. I still have pictures.
Do we go together? Yes, no, maybe. Sure. I actually did that,
he did
by
it.
the way.
I'm gonna find the picture and I'll put it in here.
I actually did that. We started dating. Then after that point, I moved to Houston in October of 2009. Mm-hmm. By February, you were pregnant with Jordan.
This was not planned.
We do not recommend that relationship. we did everything unconventional.
Very, very unconventional. Because I wasn't planning on having children yet. We were not planning, either one of us, to really be in a relationship. We were not planning to even fall in love. A lot of stuff happened very, very quickly with us and very naturally. And I think we both fought it in the beginning. We both kind of fought it. Like because I was just getting out of a relationship, I had planned to I wanted to be single. I wanted to kind of have my Sex in the City moment. I was trying to either move to New York or Atlanta, really start my career. I wanted it to take off in marketing in a whole new way. And I just wanted my freedom. And here he come around the way with his silver tongue, saying all the right things and the wrong things. And
you know our parents will be watching this, right?
They got grandkids. They know what's up. There was so much that I didn't know about really being, one, living with a man, dealing with what that looked like. Because I said before I got married, I wanted to live with my partner. Had some unconventional ideas compared to what I had growing up. But I had seen, my parents' marriage fail. I had seen so many different relationships fail based on doing the right thing and them following all of the right rules. And those rules just never really seemed to create the level of success that I wanted in my life. And I'm very glad we did, because we learned a lot about each other very, very fast.
Right.
It's funny because when people talk about, being ready for marriage, it's like, oh, I want to have all of these things in order and be ready for marriage. No one is ready for marriage. Just like you're not ready to be a parent. Because there's so many nuances to it, right? You're saying yes to the person in that moment, who they are in that bucket of time.
Right. There is no rule book or handbook to this. Mm-hmm. So it all depends. Saying you're ready for marriage, I don't think people understand when they're saying that the journey comes with that. Right. And that's what you're really signing up for.
Right.
Instead of that day and living happily ever after. You can't be fully ready, at least in the sense that we think of being ready. Mm-hmm. You can never be fully ready for the unknown. Right. You can only be prepared to take on what's happening, but just, I got everything needed to fight this, infinite battle when you have no idea what you're fighting. So the armor that you have on or whatever you're preparing for might only last you for the first year or two, and then you have to upgrade and learn and progress to get to the rest of it. But you have to understand, when you get married, and if you're in it for the long haul, you'll end up being married, hopefully, to be honest with you, to 10, 12 different people.
Right.
Because you will grow. If you're not growing, then
there's no point in it.
When someone says, I wake up choosing my spouse every single day,
it
may not seem like it, but in the grand scheme of it all, you're literally waking up every day saying, I choose this person. Otherwise, you wouldn't see stories where all of a sudden a guy or a woman just ups and leaves.
Right.
They'd be like, well, that was brewing for a while. Yeah, but that was the day that person said, I'm no longer saying yes. So at some point, you're still choosing every single day.
Right.
I have this weird empathy for single people, because I truly understand the mindset coming from being single to being in a relationship, and those hard habits that you either have to change or modify given your spouse and what your spouse understands or significant other understands. Probably getting out of certain habits and the singular mentality of, it's not only just me, it's now somebody else. Mm-hmm. And not looking at the needs of the other person as a burden. We're just like, I gotta think about this person, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Because in the beginning, that was tough. You realize how selfish you are single. Mm-hmm. And rightfully so, you should be, especially when you're single, you come first.
Yeah.
But when you decide to be in a relationship with somebody, you're now saying, I want this person in my life. I want to become one. Mm-hmm. And when you're saying that, you have to understand what that means. That means we have to be on the same page pretty much at all times.
Yeah.
So what you're not okay with, I have to accept, or we have to work together to come to a compromise.
Yeah.
We have to mesh. So.
Yeah. I think that I know for me, one of the most difficult parts in the beginning was really trying to understand what kind of wife I wanted to be, because there's no handbook that's given to you. It's just like, especially like if you grew up really religious, it's like, oh, you should, be submissive to your husband, and, you should blah, 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 and, cook for him and all of these things. But I was still a career woman. And this idea of being submissive to anybody just didn't sit well with me.
No, there's no context behind it.
I mean, there isn't.
You're not gonna be submissive to somebody who's, consistently sinking the ship.
I struggled internally because there were so many questions that I had about why this had to be this way. Like, why was this institution of marriage only like this? Why couldn't it evolve or be something more than, but I didn't have an example of that.
Right.
And so it was me trying to figure out, okay, like most of the women that I had seen wifing were really glorified mothers to their husbands. They weren't true partners. And I was mimicking that and not necessarily my happiest in that space. So there was a complete imbalance with all of that. And I didn't know who to turn to because we didn't have any married, like we only had one other couple that was married.
Right.
All of our friends were single or dating. It's taken us, we've talked about this in other videos. It's really taken us leaving the United States and learning how to communicate on another level to really figure out, okay, this is what we want our marriage to be.
Right.
This is what it needs to look like. This is how I gain my individual happiness and you have your individual happiness. And we come to the table as two whole people.
Right.
Because that just was not happening before.
I struggled with pretty much that exact same thing because I had no idea how to be a husband. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what that looked, sound, or smelled like. That sounded weird. But, I would say the first 5 years of our marriage was a heavy learning process. And at times, you're just going through it. And even though you're learning, you're not applying it because you're still fighting why is this still this way? Or why is this not happening? Mm-hmm. And so, and youth played a part as well. We were very young. So there was a certain level of youth stubbornness there, mm-hmm. and not listening. On top of that, we were working a lot.
All the time.
So I would leave for work at 3:00 in the evening mm-hmm. to be at work by 5.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't get home until 6, 7 in the morning.
And then I'm getting up.
She's getting up to go to work.
Yeah.
So even while we were married and trying to work on things, we didn't have time to really.
No.
We didn't have time really to be with our kids as much as we wanted to. So
we were glorified roommates.
Yeah. I know I was very stubborn, but I was always trying. That was the biggest thing.
That's true. That's the number one thing. That's no matter what we went through, you were always trying to be better, and it wasn't just the words. Because people the words sound good to anybody. For us, what helped to set the foundation is what your grandmother always told us. Number one, she told us at our wedding, never go to bed angry. I don't care what happens, you don't go to bed angry. And we set the premise, even in the beginning of our relationship, we don't argue. We don't have full-blown yelling arguments.
Screaming matches.
We've never done that. We sit down and we discuss. Now, it may be a few days of discussion. That helped. And then the 5 love languages.
Yeah, we did take a relationship course. Was that class or something like that?
Before we got married.
Before we got married, we took a relationship class, mm-hmm. which there were some gems in there mm-hmm. that stayed with us mm-hmm. till this day.
To this day, I agree. I think one of the most aha moments for me was realizing that it was okay to evolve past who we originally were. Because who I was at the altar, I am not that woman today. But realizing that I can continue to evolve, my belief systems can change, my core belief systems can change, and my husband will still love me. He'll still be my partner. He'll still be the person who's here accepting this new version of me.
That takes trust though. And but mostly that takes you knowing who you're marrying.
Right.
Because you can be on that train, and then even though you love this person loves you back with every fiber of their being, they might not be able to fully understand that.
Right.
So she went on a leap of faith in certain areas, trusting that I'm either okay with it, I can understand it, or I can learn to understand it, and and just live with it, or take that journey with her. Mm-hmm. Losing a piece of them. I've had plenty of moments that I felt that way, because especially when you're growing or you're learning, most so in anything, you're consistently learning. Mm-hmm. At some point, you have to find your footing.
Yes.
And when you learn so much and you don't find your footing, you will lose yourself and not know which way is up. And there was even guilt with that, with changing.
Oh, for sure.
Because growing up, I always hear, especially in the Black community, is, you change, or I'm never gonna change. I'm always gonna be the same person, in the sense of, I'm not gonna switch up on you. I'm not gonna be all of a sudden brand new and blah, blah, blah. And no one ever talks about what that means and in what context do you mean that.
Right. Context is everything.
Context is everything, because saying that is, especially growing up just as a kid, you're like, so it's bad to change? To change,
right. And you have to embody that. Because, there's no way that we could be doing what we're doing in our life if we didn't fully embody change at every turn. The level of communication that we had to get okay with, not holding stuff in. Because I feel like every couple goes through that, because it's like you may be angry or or something really bothers you, and then it just starts piling up, and then one day you just suddenly like, you know what, I've had it looking at your face. I'm done. I'm tired. We're going to go at it. And what we started learning how to do was, the moment something bothers us, we address it. It's like, hey, you know what? This kind of made me feel some kind of way. And it may not even be that big of a deal, but it's just about having that open communication so that we're aware that, oh, I didn't even know that bothered you.
Right.
Oh, okay. I won't do that anymore. And so what it's done is help remove the eggshells.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times couples will deal with like, oh, I feel like I need to walk on eggshells. I can't really be myself around you, or I can't, do X, Y, Z. And we wanted to remove that. As long as we've been married and, we're the best of friends, there's stuff that we completely disagree on sometimes. Like, he'll take a stance on something and I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm not really feeling that. No. And this is why. And we'll end the discussion with, we have to agree to disagree.
Yeah. and that's fine. Like, I don't understand forcing somebody to believe or have the same stance on something that you have. You don't think about, is it okay for them to have complete opposite feelings about something, and then you put a negative connotation to it, where it's like, well, if y'all ain't on the same page on that, then what else are you going on? And it's like, nah, especially if you have a healthy respect for other people's opinions. And that's probably the biggest thing, is we both have respect for other people's opinions, which gives us the foundation to have respect for each other's opinions.
Right.
Message.
I'm not here to colonize your mind or conquer you, and vice versa.
This is not in a particular order. So, meaning like, just the first thing I'm about to probably say is not the most important thing. It's the first thing I thought of. But the one thing that I do love about at least our marriage, the unconditional love, knowing that we can have conversations, we can have disagreements, we can mess up, but at the end of the day, knowing that she's gonna love me no matter what, right? Like, and absolutely vice versa. It's this security blanket, having a best friend that you truly can talk to about anything, and you can have constructive criticism conversations without them feeling some kind of way detrimentally. Having that is huge.
Having someone that can see the best in you when you can't see the best in yourself.
That's a good one.
Especially as an entrepreneur, especially, like, there's so many moments where I was just like, I felt like such a failure. I felt like, the ideas that I come with, like, had put our family in absolute disaster, because there was a period of time in our life where my pregnancy with Aria was so difficult that Tim had to quit his job to take care of me. That was huge to begin with. I hadn't met any man that had done that, and he loved me and our family enough to say, you know what, I'm here for you, I'm going to care for you, and not just financially. And that was the first example that I had of what it means for a man to care for his family beyond just the financial. As once we decided that where our life needed to change, especially because of the level of stress, that how it was impacting my body, I was so determined to put us on this entrepreneurial journey because of the sacrifice that he made. And, I was really trying to figure it out, and it just felt like failure after failure after failure. And no matter what, Tim had my back. He was always supporting me. He was always my biggest cheerleader. It's so important to have somebody who can see you at your highest self even when you can't. And that extends even beyond just, from the business aspect, even physically. I mean, my body has changed drastically post having kids, and he's loved me at every single size. Like, you want to talk about body positivity? This dude right here is like, he's like, I love all the curves. Give it all, the cellulite, all of that. Don't Photoshop nothing. I want it all. And that is huge for a woman who's lost self-confidence. That was a beautiful gift. Another thing I will definitely say I'm grateful for, one of the best parts of marriage is just giving me the room to flourish. Even when I've had moments of growth that may supersede him in a certain area, it wasn't like he was trying to hold me back. There was never a time where it was like, I don't like the area that you're going in, and because I don't know enough about that, maybe you should go ahead and pull back from that. It was just like, okay, this is not my race. I don't know enough about it, but I'm gonna walk on down the journey, and I'm gonna see if I can catch up to you. Just don't leave me too far behind. That's all I ask.
I think I literally said that.
Yeah.
Or that's somewhere along those lines. I think I'm gonna get there, but I got to make sure that I don't get too far behind.
Yeah.
That was probably my motivating factor for growing. Because I never wanted to be the husband that you're dragging along in certain growth areas. So.
Right.
Staying open-minded. Staying open-minded, being supportive, and probably trying to understand. Adapt to certain things. If there's things that she likes, I don't understand, like, okay, let me see what this is about. And if I don't like it, it's okay. Let her have it. She's very ambitious, like sometimes overly ambitious.
That's true.
But I don't stop her from being ambitious either. So all I do is try to play the role of honing it, which goes to our partnership, where she can come with a very, very, very ambitious idea and then let me poke holes in it. So there's an aspect of who she is and who I am, and not how they differ, but how they can work together.
How they complement one another. Yeah.
So
I would say definitely something that is attributed to our success has been us being able to make room for what kind of relationship we wanted to have, even in that moment, and then evolving into what it needs to be. It was in Thailand when I was like, I don't want a marriage anymore. I want a partnership. This idea of marriage is bullshit. And I need us to have a partnership. I need us to, in every facet, like if we're gonna do these things, if we're gonna accomplish this, we have to have a partnership. And we had to define what that looked like, because again, we didn't have a blueprint.
When she said that, I knew she didn't mean like, I don't want to be married no more. It's just, this is a business contract. No. It's just the evolution of what marriage is.
Your marriage is not about anybody else, right? And that's a big thing. We've kept people out of our marriage.
Keeping people out of your marriage. Whew. No matter how much you want to go talk to somebody else about issues, and you have your friends you can talk to, but make sure those are people you can trust,
right?
That aren't secretly having an agenda or secretly jealous or whatever the case is. if you have a circle that is somewhat within your marriage, make sure that they are vetted, they are battle tested, whatever that case is.
Right.
Otherwise, keep people out your marriage.
Out of your marriage. Yeah. And same thing goes for some married couples, because sometimes they are super traditional and, they feel like the way that, new couples are doing things are just really weird. And it's like, well, that's why y'all ain't been married for 50 years or whatever. And it's like, you haven't exactly been happy for the last 35 of those years. So tomato. So be very mindful of who you are inviting into your energetic zone. I am very protective of my energy and my husband's energy. And like he said, what we go through is what we go through.
I just know ours is alive. So. I don't know. Ours is alive. Like I love you, and we have like this. It's kind of a routine, but it's not. What routine meaning like the ways we show affection and just telling each other we love you every day, and hey, I ain't got my kiss today, kind of thing. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I think what takes the pressure off of that is our life period.
Yes.
Is meaning we do things, so we don't have a boring life.
Right.
With a boring romance part of our life.
Yeah. It's not monotony and all.
Right. Where it's like, well, we gotta go to work every single day, and we got the kids, we got all this stuff to do, then let's at least spice up this part.
Yeah.
Well, this part is already, it's spiced up pretty well.
Yeah.
So all we gotta do is just maintain this.
Yeah.
So man, another good analogy.
We both honor peace. Having peace in our relationship creates the room and opportunity for romance and other things to naturally be an evolution, because of the fact that we don't invite chaos in our life. We don't look for opportunities to anger each other, to trigger each other, to, we're not selfishly putting ourselves in encounters that would damage what we've created. And that peace gives the room for romance and conversations and communications and all of those things to be alive, because we honor peace.
Right. That's a good one, yeah. Make sure you comment, subscribe, comment, subscribe, and like. All those different things, and hit that bell. If you have any questions, if you have any marriage questions, or questions you would just like us to answer that maybe we didn't present in this video, feel free to comment and let us know, and we will answer them for you. From Wanderlust Family, I am Tim.
And I'm Yanshi.
And we are out.
And I love you.
I love you too.